Welcome to my channel Echoes of Coin. In 1982, something extraordinary happened to the American penny. Without changing its face, the United States secretly changed what it was made of. Some pennies from this single year are solid copper, others are mostly zinc, and one rare mistake could be worth thousands today. This is the hidden story of the 1982 1-cent coin. The 1982 1-cent coin of the United States stands as one of the most historically important modern pennies ever produced, not because of a single dramatic design change, but because it represents a silent revolution in American money. At first glance, the 1982 Lincoln cent appears ordinary, nearly identical to the pennies that came before it and those that followed. Yet beneath its familiar copper-colored surface lies a profound transformation that reshaped U.S. coinage forever. The year 1982 marks the moment when economic pressure, rising metal prices, and national policy collided, resulting in the end of an era that had lasted for nearly 2 centuries. For generations, Americans associated the penny with solid copper. From the earliest large cents of the late 1700s to the Lincoln cent introduced in 1909, copper had been the backbone of the 1-cent coin. The Lincoln penny itself, designed by Victor David Brenner, was revolutionary when it debuted. It was the first circulating U.S. coin to feature a real historical person, President Abraham Lincoln, honoring the 100th anniversary of his birth. That design became deeply embedded in American culture, and by the time 1982 arrived, the Lincoln cent had already been in circulation for over 70 years. However, the economic environment of the late 1970s and early 1980s placed enormous strain on the U.S. mint. Inflation was rising, global copper prices were climbing sharply, and the intrinsic value of the metal used in pennies was approaching, and at times exceeding, the face value of the coin itself. This created a serious problem. Producing a 1-cent coin that cost more than 1 cent to make was unsustainable. The penny, a symbol of affordability and stability, had become a financial burden. Before 1982, the standard Lincoln cent was composed of 95% copper and 5% zinc, a composition that had been used since 1962 and was similar to earlier bronze formulations. These coins had a distinctive weight of 3.11 grams, giving them a solid feel that many collectors and Americans still remember fondly. As copper prices surged, the U.S. Mint was forced to act. Extensive research and testing were conducted to find a cheaper alternative that could maintain the appearance and functionality of the penny while significantly reducing production costs. The solution was zinc. In 1982, the U.S. Mint officially transitioned from the traditional copper alloy to a new composition consisting of 97.5% zinc with a thin copper plating. This reduced the weight of the penny to 2.5 grams and dramatically lowered manufacturing expenses. Although the new coins looked similar to their copper predecessors, they were fundamentally different. This change was not merely technical. It symbolized a shift in how the United States approached its smallest denomination. What makes 1982 especially fascinating is that it was not a clean break from one composition to another. Instead, it was a transitional year filled with variation. During 1982, the U.S. Mint produced Lincoln cents in both copper and zinc compositions. Additionally, there were 2 different date styles used that year, large date and small date. When combined with mint locations, this resulted in a remarkable number of distinct varieties for a single year. Philadelphia and Denver were the primary mints producing pennies in 1982. The Philadelphia mint coins carry no mint mark, while Denver coins are marked with a D. San Francisco also produced proof coins, intended for collectors rather than circulation. In total, collectors recognized 7 major circulation varieties from 1982: large date copper, large date zinc, small date copper, small date zinc, and their respective mint mark combinations, with one particularly rare variety standing out among them. The most famous and valuable variety is the 1982 D small date copper cent. This coin was never officially intended to exist. By the time small date dies were being used at the Denver Mint, the transition to zinc was supposed to be complete. Yet a small number of pennies were struck using the older copper planchets paired with the newer small date design. These coins weigh approximately 3.11 grams, rather than the lighter zinc weight, and they represent one of the most sought-after modern U.S. era varieties. The discovery of the 1982 D small date copper cent sent shockwaves through the numismatic community. Collectors began weighing their pennies, searching through jars, rolls, and bank boxes, hoping to uncover one of these elusive coins. Unlike many rare coins, this variety was not rare because of age, but because of a brief and accidental overlap in production. Its rarity is defined by transition, timing, and human oversight. Beyond the rare varieties, the 1982 penny also tells a broader story about the changing role of the cent in American society. By the early 1980s, purchasing power had declined significantly. What once could buy a newspaper or a piece of candy was now nearly meaningless in everyday transactions. The penny's economic relevance was fading, yet its symbolic importance remained strong. It represented tradition, continuity, and the idea that even the smallest unit of currency mattered. The design of the 1982 1-cent coin retained the familiar portrait of Abraham Lincoln on the obverse. Lincoln's profile faces right, accompanied by the inscriptions "In God We Trust" along the top, "Liberty" to the left, and the date to the right if struck in Denver. A small d appears beneath the date. This design had remained largely unchanged since 1909, with only subtle modifications over the decades to improve striking quality and durability. The reverse of the 1982 penny features the Lincoln Memorial, a design introduced in 1959 to commemorate the 150th anniversary of Lincoln's birth. The memorial's central structure is depicted with remarkable detail, including a tiny seated statue of Lincoln visible between the columns. Above the memorial appears the inscription "United States of America," with E pluribus unum above it, and 1 cent prominently displayed at the bottom. This reverse design was nearing the end of its lifespan in 1982, as it would be replaced in 2009 with the Lincoln bicentennial reverse designs. From a technical standpoint, the transition to zinc introduced new challenges. Zinc is softer and more reactive than copper, making zinc pennies more susceptible to corrosion and environmental damage. Over time, many zinc cents develop bubbling, peeling, or dark spots as the thin copper plating wears away or is compromised. This vulnerability has influenced how collectors view post-1982 pennies, often favoring pre-1982 copper cents for their durability and aesthetic appeal. Despite these issues, the 1982 penny remains one of the most educational coins for collectors. It teaches the importance of weight, composition, and die varieties. A simple digital scale can reveal whether a 1982 cent is copper or zinc, transforming an ordinary-looking coin into a fascinating object of study. This hands-on aspect has made the 1982 penny especially popular among beginner collectors, students, and hobbyists. The historical context of 1982 also adds depth to the coin's story. The United States was emerging from a period of economic instability marked by high inflation, unemployment, and global uncertainty. The decision to change the penny's composition was not made lightly. It reflected broader efforts to control costs, modernize production, and adapt to changing economic realities. In this sense, the 1982 1-cent coin is a physical artifact of national decision-making under pressure. Collectors today often debate the future of the penny itself. Discussions about eliminating the 1-cent coin from circulation have persisted for decades. Rising production costs, declining purchasing power, and efficiency concerns continue to fuel arguments against its continued use. The 1982 transition serves as an early warning sign in this ongoing debate, highlighting how even the smallest coin is subject to powerful economic forces. In the world of numismatics, the 1982 penny occupies a unique space. It is neither ancient nor obsolete, yet it carries a story as complex as many older coins. It bridges the gap between traditional metal-based coinage and modern cost-driven production. It reminds collectors that history does not only reside in centuries-old artifacts, but also in the everyday objects that pass through our hands unnoticed. For many people, the 1982 penny was simply pocket change. It jingled in wallets, fell between couch cushions, and accumulated in jars without a second thought. Yet for those who look closer, it represents transformation, adaptation, and the hidden narratives embedded in ordinary objects. Each 1982 cent is a witness to a moment when the United States quietly changed the very substance of its money. Even today, Searching through a roll of pennies can uncover a 1982 cent, its weight silently revealing whether it belongs to the old copper tradition or the newer zinc era. This simple act connects the present to the past, allowing collectors to touch history in a tangible way. Few modern coins offer such a direct and accessible lesson in economic history. The legacy of the 1982 1-cent coin continues to influence how collectors, historians, and policymakers think about money. It stands as proof that coins are more than tools of commerce. They are mirrors of society, reflecting economic realities, technological capabilities, and cultural values. The penny may be small, but its story, especially in 1982, is anything but insignificant. In the end, the 1982 Lincoln cent is not just a coin. It is a turning point. It marks the end of America's long reliance on copper for its smallest denomination and the beginning of a new era defined by practicality and compromise. Whether found in pristine condition or worn smooth by decades of circulation, the 1982 penny carries within it the echoes of change, reminding us that even the smallest cent can hold a powerful story.